Okay.
And it's tough going from that entrepreneur who I own it all to...
Welcome everyone, we're here live at the GTIA ChannelCon. For those of you that couldn't make it, this is the first ChannelCon under the new brand of GTIA. What was once CompTIA is now GTIA.
You say the letters.
Yeah, you say the letters because we tried pronouncing GTIA and we were told explicitly that is not correct.
Against the rules.
Right. Yeah. So I'm here with Robert Gillette, who also has gone under a fun transformation because many of you will have known him from the MSP Dojo. Yep. But breaking news, Robert now lives in Tennessee. Robert, tell everyone why you live in Tennessee and not in California.
I moved here for the job. The MSP Dojo is now a part of the MSP Growth OS. So not only do we practice the sales craft with our peers in a role play environment, now it's everything that an MSP owner would need to recruit the right people, train them and retain them, and then learn themselves how to be a chief revenue officer to build a sales engine that doesn't rely on the MSP owner doing everything.
This has been a big move for you.
Yeah.
Because Dojo, you were a sole proprietor.
Yes.
With Michelle.
Yeah.
And now you're part of a bigger team. What's that like?
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I love it. I have great support, great leadership. I mean, my co-founder is guy whose MSP grew to 140 million in annual revenue before he sold it. And so it's great having that leadership. It's also tough eating that humble pie because, you know, I remember our first conversation of saying, hey, you used to be the owner and you used to call the shots. You were 100%. You know, now technically you're the director of content and it's not your job to do all the things you did before. So it was really, you know, humbling to go through that transition, but it has empowered me and enabled me to really dive into content the way I want to. So in the end, it was a good thing.
How long are we in this journey so far?
So the transition officially happened in January of 2025, and we publicly announced it in July. So
okay, stealth mode.
Yeah, a little stealth mode. We want to continue building.
What's been one of the biggest emotional differences for you? MSP Dojo, Robert Gillette's the head honcho, and now you're a member of the team. What's been the biggest change?
Yeah, it's honestly the same thing a lot of our MSPs have to go through is that when they're 3 or 5 million and the owner is kind of one of the most successful in their peer group and they want to make that jump to 10 or 20 or 30 or 100 million, they have to kind of humble themselves and put their white belt back on and relearn a lot of the things they've had to learn and go to this place where they don't know what they're doing anymore. And they have to kind of sit at the feet of a guy who does. And he says, hey, you got to do this. And they go, well, yeah, we do that. But you don't really do it the way that he needs you to succeed at that level. And so it was a very humbling experience. But no, I personally believe that I'm a lifelong learner and people should be lifelong learners. And so like, if you never grow, if you're never challenged, if you never put that humbling seat or get back into that humble seat, like you're never going to grow ever again. And if you're okay with that, then like if you reach a level where that's what you want to be, that's awesome, be that. But don't want to grow and not be willing to get humble, if that makes sense.
Dave is your partner.
Yeah.
Introduce Dave.
Yeah, so Dave Saygraves, he started at MSP as a sales guy when it was doing about $1 million in revenue. He bought in, grew it to 20 million, partnered with private equity, and then grew it to 140 million. Then he retired, and then I talked to him in an interview. I interviewed him for my podcast. And he told me, man, I'm getting dumb. I'm getting dumb. Like the edge is coming off. And so he started consulting with a couple different MSPs. And actually the MSP I worked at, he started consulting with us and he helped me become the sales professional that I became. And so when I left that job and he had moved on as well, I was like, man, we got to figure out a way to take this to a level where we can help lots of people, not just one-on-one consulting. And that was the birth of the Growth OS.
What have you learned from Dave that people that run a $120 million business know that people that run $1 million business don't know yet? What's the biggest striking thing that you've seen? The biggest
striking thing is that everybody wants a silver bullet. Everybody wants the easy button. Everybody goes, man, just tell me that one thing I can do and we'll have our breakthrough. And the tough truth is there ain't one thing. There's like 100 things and a lot of nuance. And it's just hard work. The grind of fixing every little bit, picking up that 1%, that 3% there until you have the momentum. It's just a lot of hard work. When you're a small MSP, you can often find that one thing, flip the switch, and double your revenue. But to go from 5 to 10, it's not the same. Like, you have to do the hard work.
And what was a clear example that you've seen in the last 7 months where you may have said privately to yourself, "Oh shoot, I didn't do that before"?
Oh, yeah. So I mean, just this. Are we talking for me or for MSP? For me personally, I get stuck in the details. Okay. That's a big. So I move. This is just my own personal vulnerability. Like my growth. Because I'm growing as well. Dave's helping me grow, and so
that's the most exciting thing about the story for the audience. Absolutely. Is like, you know, Robert and I love doing our sales pitch, but this is not sales pitch. This is like Robert's now rubbing elbows with someone that ran $100 million business. Okay. We're just mere peasants. What can we learn from this person? Their life is completely different than our lives. What can we learn? And then maybe sort of bottle and keep that in our pocket to, you know, chase them.
So for me, it's this focus. It's this idea that I'm a co-founder and I have a co-founder hat, but I'm also the director of content. And I sit under a CEO and a COO. And so there are moments when I'm working as the co-founder, and there are moments when I'm the director of content. And learning that nuance of saying like, hey man, I got to take off my director of content role and put on my co-founder role for a minute. Then I got to take off that hat for a co-founder and operate just as the director of content. And even though I am the co-founder, I'm not, for instance, the CRO. That's Dave's role. And so Dave is going to make decisions that I need to back him on. And I'm a part of the conversation as the co-founder. But when the CRO makes the call, the director of content has to build that thing.
So what's the lesson? Like, wearing multiple hats. You already knew, but wearing multiple hats. What is it about the hat?
It's the nuance of putting your pride aside and saying like, man, my day-to-day job is the director of content.
Right.
And even though I'm a co-founder, when the CRO makes a decision, that's the decision. Okay. And it's tough going from that entrepreneur who I own it all to adjusting to that team level. And this also, again, happens with our clients where you may be the owner of a $3 or $5 million MSP, and they will electively choose to take off that hat and put on their white belt again. Now I'm using a lot of different, mixing my metaphors with clothing, but they say, I'm going to submit myself to the leadership of someone that knows better than I, and they're going to tell me to do something I don't want to do, I don't think I have time to do, is below me, but it's what's necessary for the growth. That's what I'm learning. It's going to be for the growth of this business and to serve our clients well. I have to be willing to take off certain hats and focus completely on the director role that I have right now, and be willing to allow the rest of that stuff to go to other people. It's just very challenging. It's very different. So
cool.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, it's fun to listen because I've never really had a real job. You know, like I graduated university, I worked at a 3-person engineering company, 3-person company. So this is not much different than what I'm doing now. And then I started my first startup, which some of us know the story. It did not work well. I was too scared. I was an engineer. I was too scared of sales. I wasted a ton of money. It died. Okay, lots of long story in 10 seconds. But I have never really worked a real job with other people that also know what they're doing with a hierarchy and an org chart. So I'm fascinated by hearing you go from the pirate, the single person captaining a ship, to now part of a still small, but this is a structured navy, right?
Yes.
You have structure. There's some legacy here, and it works, which gives you the comfort to trust. So when Dave says, Robert, I need you to do this, and I know you don't get the fanfare of being the founder, but I need you to do this, and that day you can at least trust him and say, I'm comfortable doing it. I take solace in knowing if I do what Dave says, we will succeed. I'm going to do it.
I mean, that's the difference between theoretical growth and like actual growth, or theoretical knowledge and actual knowledge. Like, there comes a point where I go, I don't agree with what he's doing. It's not the way I would do it, but he has done it. I just want to do it.
Right.
So there's this like, I know the way I want it to be done. I know what I want to focus on. I know the stuff that's important to me. But then there's Dave, who's like, he's done it. It doesn't mean he's always right, but it means he has something I don't yet in the experience field.
Right.
That I know I've heard from our clients time and time again. They're like, yeah, you said this and it was right. You said this, and even if it didn't work out right away, you knew how to tweak it so that it would work. And that's kind of the difference between a silver bullet and then just like a program and saying like, the silver bullet is do this, it'll work. And if it doesn't work, they don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But there's the nuance of, well, go do this, come back, and we'll tweak it and adjust and adjust and adjust until it does work. So.
Very cool. Yeah. So what's the next 6 to 12 months look like for MSP Growth OS?
Yeah, it's really taking, we got Dave, we have 2 other coaches at that same kind of level that Dave's at. We have a sales operations guy that built like ADP's go-to-market strategy. I've got a guy that used to be in the special forces as my COO. I just, for the next 6 months, need to pull every grain of rice and knowledge out of their head that I can and systemize it and productize it so that we can hand it wholesale to our clients. So they can start that process of version 1, come back to us, work it. Version 2, come back to us, work it. So they can have the kinds of things that are required to grow to that 10, 20, 30, $100 million.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you like working with MSPs that are in what stage of their life?
Yeah, I find that look, any MSP can grow if they're willing to do the right things. We tend to see at our size somewhere around a 3 to 5 million mark is when it makes financial sense to start investing the way we want them to.
Okay.
But I'm happy to talk to anyone, and if they're not a good fit for us, I mean, I know a lot of the other programs, and there's some great ones that can help you get to that 5 million with some really good success rates.
Sweet. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us live. This has been Robert Gillette with the newly formed MSP Growth OS, on brand because we are also at the newly formed GTIA's ChannelCon 2025. All things new here at the end of July 2025. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Enjoyed this episode? Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe.